What's going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for Your Overwatch. Today, we're actually going to be uploading 2 videos once again because this one is a bit of a smaller announcement about PTR changes that we do find really interesting, but we want to keep pumping out our regular content as well. So look out for our next video in about an hour. And yes, we are live on Twitch right now, and we just got partnered about 2 days ago. It's been going great, so come hang out in our streams. We'll be live there. Jeff Goodman, the principal designer of Overwatch, announced this at midnight, my time, that they're kicking off another build for the weekend, which is live now. I'm going to read these slightly out of order to the ones that I think are a little bit more important to talk about. First, Widowmaker, Venom Mine Explosion no longer damages the person who placed the mine. This is a bit of a fair change, I think, because part of Widow's playstyle is to utilize that mine in order to leverage sustainability against a flank. When she was really powerful, I could see where it's okay for the game to punish her for walking into it when it explodes, but this change will severely help her survivability from getting dove, because it'll guarantee that she can get some damage on the Winston, Tracer, or Genji who's going to be getting in her face, as she can just stand on it. But along with this other buff, and if too many buffs come through, that one might start to feel unfair. The next one's even more impactful. Widow's Kiss charge rate has increased by 20%. That is massive, because the entirety of Widow's strength is her ability to get up to that lethal kill shot quickly. And if it takes a fifth less time to do so, and her scope animation has already increased, at some point the levee's gonna break and Widow's gonna be definitely great again. However, I want to stress that us on this channel, even though we've advocated for Widowmaker buffs, we don't want her to get too crazy, and this might be a bit much. I don't know. It's hard to say. The old charge rate to get to 100% took about a second, a little less than that. So the fractions of a second that we're shaving down here increases her ability to be dexterous as a DPS player. Hopefully this puts her just right. And for me, I think the safety net that shouldn't make this too overpowered is that even though you can raise your scope up and get full charge faster, a body shot still does 120 only. And there's a lot of things in the game that do 120 damage. I still think even if it's 3/4 of a second in order to do that, it's not the most viable way to dish out damage. So she'll still be reliant on getting headshots, which is a good thing. But the higher this charge rate goes, the more quickly her follow-up shots should be able to come through. Because remember, the charge rate doesn't only affect your initial ability to peek, scope up, charge up to full, and shoot. This speed increase might finally allow you to hit 2 fully charged body shots on a squishy target and confirm a kill, whereas with the speed it's been on the live game, has always felt that they could pretty much get away every time. More DPS changes. Pharah's rocket launcher has had quite a significant change. Now first I'll explain how it used to work on the live version of the game. As most explosives in the game, there is a blast radius from the point of contact, and the damage numbers drop off from the point of contact. Pharah's rockets do 120 damage, and according to the patch notes, the furthest extent of that blast radius dropped off to 12% of the damage potential, meaning that the outskirts of your Pharah damage was dealing 14 damage, which is about half a melee. Not very good. Which is why when you're playing Pharah, you always had to hit direct hits or darn near direct hits to deal any damage, because I mean, that amount of damage is so negligible that Lucio's passive heal pretty much puts it away. But now on PTR, that has been buffed up to 25%, meaning that the furthest extent of her rocket's blast radius deals 30, which still isn't a lot, but it's equivalent to a melee. These numbers feel really insignificant, but there's tons of times as a Pharah player myself where it's difficult to confirm frags, and I think this is a reasonable change to try to help Pharah out a bit. Seeing as, especially with the soldier buff, you have to think that she's going to be pushed down in the meta and is going to need some help. But also she got a bit of a rework on how her rocket knockback works. Now, the minimum explosion knockback has been decreased to 0%, and it used to be 75%. Now, what does that mean? Well, just like the damage radius of the rocket, there's also a knockback radius of a rocket. And from what we can tell, it isn't proportional to the scope of the damage. So just imagine it as something completely separate for now. But let's say at the furthest extent of the rocket's knockback potential, at the very least, it used to give it 75% oomph, which made it very easy to juggle targets, throwing off their aim and bobbling them in the air, which is significant because in those splash damage battles, Pharah basically doesn't do much damage, but being able to juggle her target to eventually set up a direct hit was very key for her ability to kill things. I'm not sure I really even like these Pharah changes at all. I think this will make her stronger at finishing kills, but weaker when she's in a direct engagement, which she already was weak at anyway. Because if she's fighting a hit scan character, one of her strongest attributes was being able to bobble them around, even if she wasn't hitting a kill shot. And losing that ability might even sharpen the matchup for the hit scan player to win more often. Because yes, you'll still have knockback if you hit a direct hit, but if you hit a direct hit, you were going to win the fight anyway for the most part. Next up, we got D.va. Call Mech ultimate cost has been decreased by 20%. Now, this is when D.va is out of her mech suit, incredibly vulnerable, and has none of her utility, and basically is just a little DPS until she can get her suit back. I think this is a reasonable change. It does come back pretty quick, but D.va's basically a sitting duck and doesn't contribute much to the team when she's out of her mech suit. And I think one of the biggest problems in D.va's kit is the transition from being out of the mech to calling in the mech, as there's guaranteed time where you're defenseless. Being able to get the mech faster will help in that regard, because it's going to cut down on the amount of time that you can't really be in the fight. But honestly, as it stands now, killing D.va's mech is just about as good as sending her back to spawn. I almost wonder if little D.va could get another utility item of some sort, or even a mobility option, because I think that's one of the weakest aspects of her kit. Now granted, we did get the D.va mech suit buffs from yesterday, but I kind of don't think it's enough. We'll see. Last buff for the day, Mercy. Her passive health regeneration now kicks in when Mercy avoids taking damage for 1 second, and it used to be 3 seconds. This is amazing, because 1 full second is basically hiding behind cover while something's chasing you, and you'll start to regen health. I think this is a good change because so many characters nowadays can really fend for themselves in a lot of ways, and it's kind of gotten to the point where Mercy can't, forcing her to have to make a really annoying decision of staying completely out of the fight just to guarantee res value. But if you do that for too long and the enemy team doesn't ult in order to wipe your team, then you fly in and res and they have ults in their pocket and you just get wrecked again. It's a really weird way for the character to work. So the more we can put Mercy back into the battle, I'd prefer, because I don't want to play Find the Mercy hiding across the map. I'd rather have to deal with her in open space in the team fight, which I think is more fun for everybody, the Mercy and the people trying to hunt her combined. Alright guys, that's all the patches for today on the PTR. I hope you enjoyed the video. Got another one coming up. Stream's live now. Go check it out. I really want to know what your thoughts are on these changes. It's really exciting that Blizzard is allowing the PTR to be a place to experiment, let their hair down, take their shoes off, make themselves at home. You own the game, Blizzard. Do what you like. Let's have some fun with this. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.